Now, the ABC, James, you've heard the comments, you heard what that young woman had to say. The ABC probably were too slow to do what they needed to do.
Yeah, well, as usual, it takes them to get caught out before anything, if anything, ever happens. The sad thing about this, Steve, is none of us are surprised. And that's the real problem here, is that these things keep happening and we expect them to happen. That's the big problem with things like this at the ABC.
Louise, you're in Hobart, obviously. How's impartiality work on the ABC in Tassie?
Oh, well, when it comes to the ABC down here, my experience is that if you can find a reporter that's able to manage their bias on the ABC, you're doing well. They do exist, but they're few and far between. But that clip there, that was really blatant. And the fact that there was such a delay, and also that item was pre-recorded. So there was an opportunity for somebody to catch that before it went to air. So let's hope this is the start of an awakening that the ABC need to do their job around impartial reporting.
Louise, I was talking earlier to Barnaby Joyce. He was out the back of his property in northern New South Wales, and he talked very passionately about Australia's working poor in his area. Tasmania, how difficult and is the cost of living biting on average Tasmanians?
The world for a lot of Tasmanians has changed completely over a relatively short period of time. And we used to be a relatively cheap place to live. You could buy a 3-bedroom home for, you know, a few $100,000, and the prices have doubled. And Tassie's wages really have not kept up with that at all. So there's big struggles. And yes, we have our own inner city elites, but we have also the people not far from the CBD and out in our regional areas, which are genuinely struggling, yes.
James, I bet like me, you get the Australian Weekend magazine every week and look at the real estate on offer and see all those beautiful houses for sale in Tasmania, and we still think they're pretty cheap, don't we?
Oh, look, Louise, from where I'm sitting in Sydney, Tasmania just looks so affordable. I'd move there tomorrow and live in luxury if I could. But you're right, you look at the real estate pages in Sydney, and whether you're wanting to purchase a property or find a rental, the prices are exorbitant. But, I mean, then you go to the groceries and think, well, I'll just get some comfort food, but you can't afford that either.
James, you tried to get a tradie lately?
Well, I haven't, Steve, but my son just went for an apprenticeship as a tradie, and what I was fascinated about was that he applied one time, had one interview, and immediately got the job, which says to me there's a massive lack of tradies at the moment. I mean, there's reports that plumbers and electricians are charging 50, 60% more than they normally would because people have no other option. And so for my 18-year-old son, decided he wanted to be a plumber. As I said, he got a job literally like that. There is such a shortage of people in the trades right now.
Louise, similar problem in Tasmania? You can't get tradies?
Yeah, we can't get tradies, but also perhaps James's son's just fantastic. It could also be that that's the case, and that he was the top pick. But yes, no, of course, there's big challenges. And the stats out today are like around the unemployment rate and things like that. And we're still hearing that whilst unemployment's gone up a bit, people are having real trouble getting high quality talent. And yeah, you definitely have to pay for the service. I mean, it's supply and demand, isn't it? Just like at the supermarket and whatever else.
James, the most interesting thing I took out of that Barnaby chat, the Coalition are going to target working Australians who are being smashed by cost of living, and that's how they think they're going to win the next election.
Well, it's you know, that's like saying that the sky is blue, isn't it? They're absolutely right. It's pretty obvious. And the way you win elections is you appeal to the economics that people are facing. And right now, everyone is struggling with cost of living. The government keeps saying, we've got a plan, we've got a plan. Jim Chalmers keeps writing essays and publishing them, but nothing ever happens. Well, if the coalition can have a decent plan, they'll romp it in.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Louise.